On yours, the Jaguar coming into the United States. What's wrong with either parity on tariffs, we whack you with 110, or bring them back to zero? The Indian guy comes over here and says, okay, big guy, let's go to zero. Okay, and what's wrong with that? Tell me what's wrong with that. What's wrong with that?
I don't think...
What's wrong with that?
I don't think anyone is suggesting that tariffs used very strategically...
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Channel Node Pulse. You know, the media loves to twist themselves into pretzels whenever Donald Trump's trade policies come up. They scream, tariffs are dangerous, tariffs are reckless, as if protecting American workers is some kind of crime. But when Kevin O'Leary sat down on Abby Phillipps' panel, he did something the left absolutely hates. He used common sense. He asked a simple, straightforward question. If other countries hit us with tariffs, why shouldn't we hit them back? Why should the United States always play the sucker while foreign governments laugh all the way to the bank? And the best part? The panel had no real answer. Abby Phillip and her crew jumped in, cutting off Kevin O'Leary and Batya Ungar-Sargon every time they spoke, because deep down they knew the truth. Trump's tariff strategy isn't about chaos. It's about leverage. It's about telling India, China, Europe, if you're serious about zero tariffs, fine, we'll go to zero too. But if you're going to tax our goods at 110%, don't expect to dump your products here for free. That's called fighting for your own people. And when O'Leary put that logic on the table, the whole panel looked like they'd been caught flat-footed. So buckle up, because what you're about to see is Kevin O'Leary and Batya Ungar-Sargon dismantling the same recycled talking points Democrats have been using for years, and showing exactly why Trump's America First economic strategy has the establishment so rattled. Let's dive in.
26.
Batya, it seems kind of hard to dispute that if things go the way that they're going now, things are not looking good. Even Republicans are saying that because they're worried. They have to run in 18 months or so.
I think that there are a lot of things we could all agree about were utterly unsustainable in terms of our relationship with China. And the only way to get out of that unsustainable situation was always going to hurt. And so I don't blame Americans for realizing that and recognizing that. But if I could just mention a few of the other things that he's accomplished in the last 100 days that I think we all could agree are good things. Border crossing down to almost zero, the lowest in recorded history. Deportations of gangbangers. 10% global...
Alleged.
What do you mean? There are many that are not alleged.
No, well, when 60 Minutes did their report, it found that 75% of the people that have been sent to El Salvador...
You don't dispute that there were gangbangers deported.
I dispute that the 238 Venezuelans that were sent to SECA in El Salvador all have ties to gangs.
We can debate
they may
that.
all have tattoos.
Let's put that aside.
Is any of that making stuff more affordable?
I'm getting there.
How is that helping?
I'm getting there.
CBS is really credible.
We only got an hour.
Really credible. They don't edit any interviews.
Oh, okay.
They're just
all right,
Everybody
Kevin.
edits interviews, Kevin.
They are the rock
Shark Tank
solid.
edits too.
Rock
Everybody
solid.
edits.
That's a complete non sequitur, okay? It's unrelated to the conversation. First of all, Trump had his interviews edited by Fox. That issue with CBS is being litigated, but it's not likely to be successful.
I'm glad it's being litigated.
Because editing interviews is allowed in the United States of America, and it wasn't edited deceptively. But anyway, we're moving on because that is not part of the conversation.
If
Continue
I could
what
just
you were
get
saying.
through a few more
Yes.
of these. He got 24 hostages out of Gaza. $1.5 trillion in manufacturing investment committed to the United States, transparency in foreign funding of universities, vocational training, AI training, lowering prescription drugs, the tariffs, which are going a long way towards reorienting our relationship, making us sovereign as a nation in a way that we cannot be with the current relationship with China.
I want to come back to throwing things out that he thinks will make people like him when he can't pay for it and he can't execute on it?
Let's be pragmatic with tariffs and not get emotional about it. They are short-term weaponry. Let's just take India for an example. And
you might want to
tell
tell
that. I'm sure I can convince all of you this is
Kevin,
good policy.
you might want to tell that to the president. I want to deal in the real world.
Let me answer
because
the question,
in the
okay?
real world, when Donald Trump says, I want to pay for eliminating the income tax with tariffs, that doesn't sound to me like a man who thinks this is just a short-term negotiation.
Why would you think any individual in government that doesn't face an election gives a damn about polls? They don't. He's not facing an election again. It's over. He's done. So let's get back to reality. Let's take tariffs in the context of something everybody can understand. Tata Motors in India makes the Jaguar car, okay? We want to sell an American car in India. They charge us 110% tariffs. We charge them nothing to bring the Jag into the U.S. Why is that fair? Let's just stay focused for 1 second on that. All he's saying in his policy, and I don't want to be about Trump. I don't shill for politicians. I shill for policy. What's wrong with saying to India, hey, India, it's not okay to charge us 110% on our assembled car into your nation when we charge you practically nothing on yours, the Jaguar coming into the United States. What's wrong with either parity on tariffs, we whack you with 110, or bring them back to zero? The Indian guy comes over here and says, okay, big guy, let's go to zero.
Okay,
and what's wrong with that? Tell me what's wrong with that.
No,
What's wrong with that?
I don't think.
What's wrong with that?
I don't think anyone is suggesting that tariffs used very strategically.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Very strategically are a useful tool. It is the way it's being done, the flip-flopping, the uncertainty.
Oh, you don't like the volatility?
The uncertainty that every business owner now has to face when they plan their hiring.
It's only been 100 days.
Tell
Relax.
59% of Americans to get over it. That's the reality.
Let it simmer. Let it. Listen,
Okay.
you got to let it simmer. You got to let it work. You got to give it time.
Americans, let it simmer as you give the example
Let it
for a word.
marinate.
Okay, as you cannot even marinate chicken because you can't afford it right now in Trump's America.
Wow, Ashley Allison really outdid herself with that nonsense today. She actually said people can't afford to marinate chicken because we're living in Trump's America. Seriously? These panelists have such short memories, it's almost comical. Let's be crystal clear. Inflation didn't magically appear when Trump returned to office. It exploded under Joe Biden. From the very beginning of his presidency, Americans were crushed with skyrocketing grocery bills, soaring gas prices, and a shrinking paycheck that just didn't stretch far enough. That was Bidenomics in action. Trump steps back in, and suddenly inflation isn't surging anymore. It's steady. Is it perfect? Of course not. But compared to the chaos we all lived through during Biden's term, stability itself is a victory. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Trump isn't managing a calm, predictable economy. He's re-engineering the global trade system with tariffs that put America first. That kind of bold disruption should, in theory, send every economic metric spiraling in the wrong direction. But guess what? It hasn't. Even with foreign markets rattled and global elites wringing their hands, Trump's approach has stabilized inflation here at home. That's called strong leadership, and it's something Democrats and their media allies just can't admit. The idea that tariffs are the problem is laughable. Tariffs are the solution. They're a way to fight back against countries like India and China that have been taking advantage of us for decades. Trump says, "You hit us with 110% tariffs. We'll hit you with 110% tariffs. Or, if you want fairness, let's drop it all to zero." That's not chaos. That's common sense. And it's why the rest of the panel constantly interrupts or pivots, because they can't win on the facts. So, when Ashley Allison blurts out that you can't afford to marinate chicken in Trump's America, it doesn't just sound foolish. It exposes how shallow their arguments really are. They're clinging to talking points while Americans see reality with their own eyes. Steady prices, restored leverage abroad, and a president willing to take the heat to protect them at home. That's the contrast. Biden gave us misery and excuses. Trump is giving us stability and strength. And no amount of snark from a CNN panel can erase that truth.
As we give examples of Jaguars, how many people making under $200,000 can even buy a Jaguar?
What does that have to do? Listen,
what does it have to do? We're talking about
Jaguars manufactured in India?
What's
They're
wrong
owned
with
by Tata, which is an Indian company, but are Jaguars manufactured in India?
Tata Motors
Is owned by an Indian
Yes. So
entrepreneur.
get over it. It's a fact.
But they're not manufactured in India.
Listen, they charge. They do not let us ship
are you going to
an
put a tariff
American
on the
car.
company, or are you going to put a
Are you
tariff on the cars?
You're okay with them
No, are
charging
you
100%
okay?
on American
Kevin,
cars?
are
in the
they
meantime-
manufactured in India? I haven't looked this up, but are they manufactured in India?
They make them all over the world, as
Okay,
as American cars companies do too.
Well, look,
But
I mean,
I think you should focus on the fact.
well, no, I mean, where we are, but I think we're
put a
focusing
tariff on the Indian
also
guy.
on the question of, first of all, it's been 4 weeks. There have been 0 deals, okay? So again, every day.
4 weeks? Oh my goodness, you couldn't get a deal done in 4 weeks?
Well, Kevin, you know, it was an option for this administration
So
to
you
pursue
need to do it
this.
24 hours,
It
right?
was an option for this administration to pursue a strategy of deals before slapping tariffs on the whole world. That could have happened
I'm just
too,
suggesting.
right? And I don't know, and I think, Betsy, I don't know anyone, even people who agree with you about the need to deal with trade barriers, you know, the tariffs and then the non-tariff trade barriers, would disagree that that needs to be addressed. Again, it's how, right?
So, but I
It
think
is the
that
how.
the very thing that he's being criticized for is the thing that worked. If he had come in and very nicely and politely gone to each of these
what
countries
worked?
and
What
said,
worked?
I'm,
What
tr-
worked?
I'm trying to explain. If he had very nicely and calmly and politely gone to each of these countries and said, look, you've been screwing us over, you've been screwing over the American working class for 40 years, and we're not going to take it anymore. Let's sit down and have like a nice conversation. Why won't you, how about you bring down those tariffs? Let's meet halfway
Okay, but
somewhere.
has
They
it
would have said,
worked?
no, wait, I'll tell you what worked. He picked up a baseball bat, he whacked the stock market, and now they're all sitting there in a state of relief that it's
Okay,
only a 10%
while
tariff,
Americans are
and they're coming
struggling.
to the table.
Wait, I'm confused.
That's how you know
actually
that
legitimately,
it worked.
I'm legitimately confused. So Trump destroying 20% of wealth in the country
way,
over the
all of
last
the losses
4
have
months.
recovered at this
Who
point.
wins
That's
from
not
that?
true.
Of course they have.
Let me give you the
they have
date
not.
on the
No,
losses.
who-
April
hold
3rd
on,
was the
working class
meltdown. Let me give you the data.
Hold on, Kevin. Don't interrupt me.
I want facts here, Abby.
Who benefits when the stock market drops and people lose value in both their investments and also
now to
in terms
get
of the
a
companies?
deal. So yeah, it's been 4 weeks and we don't have a deal yet. They're working. They're very close to announcing them. India and Vietnam both announced tariffs on China. You think they would have done that if Trump hadn't shown that he was serious about standing up for the American working class
Okay,
and that
but
he doesn't work for Wall Street?
How have the American people benefited is the question that I'm asking in this period of time.
Manufacturing
Those
committed
are commitments that have not materialized in a
in 4
single
weeks.
Most
How-
of
do you know how
most
long
of
it takes to
those-
build these things?
Most of those are press releases and pictures with shovels, and then it never happens. And you can go back.
can't, like,
That
what-
is that is
That's what happened in the
always
first
true.
term.
We have
Can
seen
we go
this
back
movie
to
before.
facts
That
for
is
just a moment?
always
Can we just
true.
talk about facts for a moment? April 3rd was the meltdown based on the tariff announcements. The stock market has recovered 52% of those since then. As we wait to see the outcomes of the India agreement, the EU agreement, the UK agreement, the Swiss agreement, the Thailand agreement, Japanese agreement, Canadian agreement, Mexican agreement. No administration has ever done 60 trade agreements at once. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's chaotic.
Including
but
this
all you
one.
care
So
about
where-
is 17 deals.
Okay.
Except China. Forget
Listen,
about China. It's different.
when I say
So it's no surprise that CNN keeps recycling the same tired narrative. The economy is tanking, Trump's tariffs are dragging us into ruin, a recession is around the corner. They say it with a straight face, even as the facts make a mockery of their doom and gloom predictions. Let's talk reality. The stock market isn't collapsing, it's climbing. 9 straight days of gains for the Dow Jones and S&P 500, the longest streak in 2 decades, and yet somehow not worth a headline on CNN. But you better believe that the moment there's a dip, they'll pounce, declaring, "We told you so," and ignore the bounce back that always follows. That's not journalism, that's manipulation. And here's what they won't tell you. China, yes, China, has completely dropped tariffs on over 131 product categories to the United States. That's leverage in action. That's America first paying off. But because it makes Trump's policies look effective, you'll never hear Abby Phillip or her panel admit it. Prices, stable, jobs, better than expected in both March and April. Unemployment, steady, even as Trump rebalances global trade. By every honest measure, this is success. By every dishonest measure, CNN still insists disaster is just around the corner. The truth is, Trump's big, beautiful tariffs are doing exactly what he said they would, forcing countries to the table and protecting American workers. So, don't let the noise distract you. The stock market is stronger than the talking heads admit. The economy is proving resilient, and the strategy is working. If CNN had an ounce of honesty, they'd celebrate that stability. Instead, they'd rather push fear because fear is all they've got left. This is Node Pulse, and I want to hear from you. How do you feel about Trump's tariff strategy so far? Do you see the gains the mainstream refuses to acknowledge? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read everyone. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next update. Together, we'll keep exposing the spin and bringing you the truth the media tries to bury.